Round two for the men in the 2010 ITU World Championship Series in Seoul. A very big field, and they will have a bit of a cold swim. Just over 14 degrees Celsius. A couple of the men making their debut back here for 2010 includes the likes of Oliver Freeman from Great Britain, and there he is right now starting to lead the swim here. It's an opening 1,000-meter leg, then a smaller 500-meter. One of the big names making their debut, Javier Gomez, who was away with a bit of a hip problem earlier on in 2010. He had to miss Mooloolaba in Sydney. Men very tightly bunched together as we come towards the end of the first 1,000 meters. That's Matt Sherbat from the United States and Silva from Portugal. They are side by side at the end of 1,000 meters. Silva won the World Cup race in Monterey just a few weeks ago. Sherbat was second to him. So they know each other very well. Gomez into that bunch coming out of the water. Frodeno in about 9th place, so a great swim for him. Whitfield back in 12th. You can see the men very tightly bunched together through the first 1,000 meters. Nobody really getting much away. Javier Gomez now starting to push the pace through the last stages. Polyansky from Russia, not a surprise to see the Russians into that group as well. Goggles up. Gomez got the first phase done. He's a bit concerned about the run, so we'll see whether or not he's able to get away on the bike. A small group of 3 or 4 would do him well. There's Polyansky just coming into the screen. Gomez out of the wetsuit, and he'll be first onto the bike. Vidal coming into the screen. Sherbat, there's Whitfield. And there's Bevan Doherty, the man who won it all, including the race last year in Korea, but it was in Tungyang rather than in Seoul. And first onto the bike will be Gomez, and he is trying to make a bit of time here as a sea of about 55 or 56 men now all into the transition zone. As they head out, that is Javier Gomez out of the saddle in his bare feet, glasses on top of his helmet. He is very serious about trying to make some inroads into this lead. And as he puts on the shoes, he'll have a group of about 45 men not too far behind. We'll see whether or not Gomez is able to get 1 or 2 other athletes to work with him. There's Frodeno and Whitfield, so that's a very serious group if they're able to get away here very quickly. This course very technical. We noticed on the women's race that it ultimately came back together and no one able to get away. There's Jan Frodeno out of the saddle as well, the man who took most of 2009 before he got his first victory in Yokohama, Japan. Finished off with a bronze medal at the grand final in Australia. Would love to get a big performance here today in Seoul. And that is just one long stream of men. You can see how they've come together. Finally another break, and it's another Spaniard, Ivan Rania, who spent 2009 on a professional cycling team. Even though he's been in the sport for 14 years and 3 Olympic Games, he decided to take a year away from triathlon. And there's Rania trying to pull away from that long chain of men. And he was not successful. And the next man to make his attempt, Mark Freda. Freda, the law student from the United States, a bit frustrated as he looks to the camera. He's trying to make it a breakaway and nobody coming with him. And that 8 or 10 seconds really is not enough time to make it worth his while. And as they head back towards the transition zone, it'll be 55 or 56 men. A couple of flat tires throughout the ride, including Simon Whitfield, who eventually rode himself back in the lead group. As they're coming back towards the transition zone, it is Sven Riederer with the beard. We haven't seen that look before for the Swiss athlete. And here they come. Frodeno, Chris Gimmel, Rito Hugh, all into this group of 55 or 56 men. 4 laps, 10 kilometers. It's a very fast run. We expect times around the 30-minute time frame. And out onto the run very quickly. Here goes Dan Wilson. Brad Kullefelt into a good position as well as he heads out. Silva from Portugal. Peter Robertson, the 3-time world champ, trying to get a bit of magic going here. But it is the Australian Courtney Atkinson who had to miss the World Cup race in Sydney because of an illness. That time away might have done him a bit of benefit. He is moving very quickly. Look at him go. Courtney Atkinson sprinting out of the transition zone. There's Whitfield working away through Bevan Doherty. Up through Gomez, Vidal, Timmy Don, the multiple world champion in duathlon and triathlon. There's Brad Kullefelt as well. And we're moving now up to the big boys, and that is Frodeno, who has bridged away from Kullefelt. It's a 2-man run now. Courtney Atkinson, the 30-year-old from Australia, the 28-year-old Jan Frodeno, the gold medalist at the Olympic Games, all by himself. In third place right there is Brad Kollefelt. He's got about 15 seconds to that chase group behind him, and another 12 seconds to try to catch up to the two men who are ahead, so in a tough position. And look at the tall Frodeno, moving very quickly. The cap and glasses on, Courtney Atkinson. Here comes Justice. We haven't seen that man race for the better part of about 8 months. The German right now in fourth place, trying to get away from Brakankov. And as they come now to the last stages of this 10-kilometer run, it is Frodeno trying to get the inside edge coming onto the blue carpet, but Courtney Atkinson is going to use that sprint. 80 meters now to the finishing line. It's Atkinson trying to claim a victory here in Seoul. He races so well in Asia, but Frodeno on the toes, and he's doing it once again, the magic that he did to Whitfield in Beijing, and he will claim victory here in Seoul. The Frodeno magic once again in the sprint. Courtney Atkinson, a big smile on his face for second, third across the line with another solid performance here today. Kollefelt from Australia.